Alright, I want to cover Army micromanagement. Before you go to war and start aggressively attacking, or even if you're defending, you're going to want to make sure that you have good supplies and you have the bonuses in place you want. So check your officer corps and make sure that you have these different options filled out, and then you can also go to your doctrine and grab some bonuses through these trees. So the officer corps is up here at the top, and then the doctrines, you click on the icon in here to pull that up. You can also manage your generals and officers through here. I am going to grab some bonuses by filling out my officer corps. So here, this guy's an infantry expert, and early in the game, that's basically all we have. So I'm definitely grabbing him. See what else we have. Oh, we don't have enough political power to choose anyone else. Let's grab some of these as well. Entrenchment speed here would be really useful for being on the defensive. Here's a planning speed one, depending upon how you use planning speed. I'm going to grab this for the experience gain. And, division speed plus 5% and less organization loss. Let's grab that one too. So right now I just got my beachhead, and the enemy's still trying to bring troops down here to encircle me and keep me trapped in this area. I'm gonna push out a little bit and get this pushed out far enough that I can really show you what's wrong with the AI running it. So he's already got a front line. I'm gonna click offensive line, right click and hold, and just draw it along this river. Defending along a river is a really good place to defend. You take a lot of penalties when defending across the river. So now that I have that drawn, I am going to make sure you set to aggressively attack. And I'm going to just tell them to go because I want to expand. You can see here, red arrows are attacking, and the green arrows are move orders, and blues where you have a unit coming in to assist a red attack. If you have a unit attack and they get defeated, or if you have a unit that's just dug in and they get attacked and defeated, then you'll start to see gray arrows of units moving back. Gonna let this keep on playing out because he's winning quite a bit, and I'm not seeing. Oh, there, we're starting to see it. So here we have this unit has a green arrow moving them all the way along the front. It'd be much more efficient if this unit were to move adjacent and then one unit move down. You can also see the little red skulls mean that there's supply issues. If you mouse over and hold, you can see a lot of that's from the mountain. I clicked on the supply map. Also, you can hit F4 to get there just to see how my supply lines are doing, and they're doing fine. This early in the game, the units aren't big enough that they really take a lot of supply. So just letting it run a little bit. And you can kind of see some of those large movements again, which is not what I like. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about supply while we're in here. Right here you can see there's a stopwatch on this. that means that it's still in its cooldown period. Once you capture either a stopwatch or the supply hub, will be grayed out with a slash through it. The grayed out supply hub with slash through it means either it's in the cooldown period or it doesn't have supply. So this means if you advance very quickly, you're going to outrun your supply just because everything's in this transfer period. If you click on the supply hub, you'll see these three options come up. If you click on the horse, it'll switch to a truck. And here you can see on the outer edge, down along the coastline, is a horse. It's red. And when I click it to a truck, these areas down here went to dark red. And if there's two trucks, these areas are red, went to dark red. And that kind of shows you how big of an area it can distribute to with horses versus trucks. You can see with this moving rails the flow of goods to the supply point, and the red areas are the bottlenecks. If I hit upgrade bottlenecks and now go to my construction menu, we can see they added these in. I'll go ahead and delete those, and if you're on this menu while clicking it, you can see there they just popped up. I don't need those, so it's a waste of construction time. When you start fighting with other nations on your side, they tend to send divisions to assist you, and a lot of times they don't really assist you. They just eat up your supplies, especially if you're in the desert or heavily wooded areas, hard to move areas. You can click this to just toggle off whether or not they can use the supply point. Okay. Back to general management. So I have this general. I want to micromanage because I'll do a much better job. It won't have all that thrashing. I'm going to go ahead and right click to delete all orders. You can see they removed the front line and any offensive orders, but the arrows are still there. Those orders can be stopped. I don't necessarily want to stop them because I want those tiles. But if I did want to stop them, I could go select one of these units and hit H for halt, and that'll stop that order. Exclamation marks here now mean that these units don't have orders. If you want the planning bonus, now that this is stretched out, I can select the front line and then give them that offensive line again. And you saw that that was red, and that was because I accidentally had just one unit selected. So let me select all the units, and I'm just gonna draw this again. And I don't care if it's duplicate because I'm gonna end up deleting all this. But anyways, when I hit run, those attacks are still going to take place. These individual movements take precedence with the units, and now you see that when their battle ends, the general's now moving them across the map, and that's fine. I'm just gonna let him get all the units lined up along the front so that I can then micromanage a breakthrough. Oh, they took back a slot. So I have an army down here waiting as backup. I also have these units set as frontline units. And it's just different templates. I'm not going to talk about the templates in this one. And it doesn't matter too much at this stage of the game as long as they're well supplied. But I want to get my army from here ready to assist with the breakthrough. So I am going to draw a front line for it. I'm right clicking and holding because I just want it to be a short front line. I want to concentrate troops in that area for when I start pushing. And these guys, they don't have orders. I am going to start moving them up in that area too. This guy that's by himself, I'm just going to see if he can push some of these ports real quick. So I'm going to right click where I want him to go, individual move order, and press and hold shift, and hit right click again, and just go all the way down here. And I'm just going to let him go as far as he can. And whenever he hits resistance, he's going to stop moving. And we can see the enemy. Yep, there they took that spot. We're gonna take that one back. Okay. So this guy is now cut off. We're gonna tell him to go defend that port. And I'm confusing myself with all these lines. Okay, he is filling in that area. It's just taking him a while to get there. Okay, perfect. So now we have those ports as well, which is great. Let's get rid of this hernia. Perfect. Okay. Check the supply map. We can see it's starting to get hot in through here because we have a lot of units. If I wanted to fix that, I could come here and increase like the motorization level and upgrade bottlenecks, and that should take care of it. I can also change the motorization level of the army by clicking up here. But overall, once I start spreading out, this is going to be a waste. Looking at this general, you can see most of the units have full planning bonus, except for the ones I've been attacking with. Which brings up another topic about how to micromanage. I like to click on them one at a time, but it is also possible to select individual units. So I don't really care about this planning bonus. I just want to clean this up a little bit. Let me get rid of some of this mess. So what I could do is give individual units orders through these battle plan interface like we've been doing. So here, I could take all 5 of these guys, and I have just these 5 units selected. In this case, I clicked on them. You can select them in the general's menu over here. And I'm going to click on the front line or hit Z, and then I right clicked on the tile they're in. So their front line is that tile. And now I selected one of those 5 units I had before, and I'm going to give him an offensive line, and it's going to be the next tile over. And now I'm going back to the 4 units that don't have one, selecting a different one, giving them a different front line. And then I'm grabbing a 3rd one and giving him a front line for the 3rd tile that I'm facing. And that works fine, and you can use it to have a planning bonus. However, once this attack goes off, you have to remember that your front line is going to expand. So it's going to go from 1 tile to 2, or if I get all 3 of these, the front line is going to be all the way along here. So once that initial battle's over, your units are going to start shifting around again if you let the general control it. Or you can just let the attack play and then pause, delete that, delete all the general's commands, then let it play. Kind of tedious. Although to be fair, all of these micromanagement things are tedious. The other thing to note is you want to try to attack tiles from multiple places. So, for example, this tile here, I have 2 tiles facing it. I'm going to attack it with, the general rule of thumb is, depending upon combat widths, I'm not going to get in on this one. On the future one, I'll probably talk about templates some, but for now, we'll just go with the general rule of thumb is, if you attack the enemy like this, the first tile you attack from, you can take 2 divisions, and every additional one, you can send in 1. So on this one, I send in 2. From this tile, I'm sending in 1. And if up here I take this tile, and I have, actually, it looks like a little bit's facing it. Let's see if this unit here that doesn't have orders can be given, yes, it can be given an order straight over there. So now I have 2 from the original one attacking it, and then 1 from this side, and another 1 from this side. And then hit play, and you can see it's being attacked from 3 sides. This general here, so if I hit play, these attacks from that square will go. And then what I really wanted out of this was, this tile here doesn't seem to have anybody in it, so I should be able to walk right into it. And what I'm trying to do, so this one looks empty. I'm going to send one of these guys up here. This enemy could walk from here up to here, but I'm going to send this guy to block him. And another thing, with these micro commands I gave from the frontline interface or battle planning interface, you can now see that this line has grown and the units are starting to thrash about. And by that I mean just like walk back and forth trying to guard the whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of those commands so that they don't do that. What I'm going here is a breakthrough to the north. In this game, all supply runs from the capital outward, so if I go to the supply map, I'm gonna click the icon for that map down here in the bottom right menu. You could also hit F4. You can see supply lines. So the supply line for my army is coming from this icon for the capital, the main supply hub, and it's going along the railroads to the docks, and then across the Mediterranean into Spain, and then along those railroads. So I need to make sure that I have supply hubs along my route of advance. And we can see here, I just took this tile and there's a red X through the supply hub, and it says it has no supply from capital, and that's because this railway connection is still going through the cooldown period. Now, with the thought in mind that all supply flows from your capital, I am going to push up north towards Madrid and try to circle Madrid, but not actually take it. If you take the capital, the country moves the capital to another city, and then the supply comes from there until they lose enough victory points to capitulate. I want to just encircle their capital and not take it, so the supply hub stays here, and I know that none of their troops are getting supply. Portugal has their capital on the coast, so their supply system is a little bit more complex in that I can take this capital here, or not take, surround this capital here, and their country will still have really good supply because this capital has a port, and this port can feed their other 2 ports. So, I am going to work on encircling Madrid, and then I'm also gonna push out to the east and west to make pockets here and here, ideally. So let's go back to the default map and look in here. So this guy broke through, and I am going to manually shift troops down the line here. So these tiles all have 1 troop. This guy is moving around. I don't want him to go there. I'm going to hit H so he stops moving. I'm going to move him 1 this way, this guy down 1, this guy down 1, so I can take my tank and move it up towards where I need speed. These guys don't have orders, so I'm going to move them up towards where I need speed, or where I'm going to break through, grab my other tank. Here's a tank. I want them up there, and I need more troops in this area. You can see, for the most part, I am moving troops down 1 at a time. I need to play it a little bit just to get some troops moving. I need to grab research so that I'm not wasting bonuses. Let me see what we got real quick. This I'll need later. Just throw something in here. Close. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm working towards the flame tank. And do we have any industry that we need? This will work. National focus. Let's set that so we don't lose time. This is good enough. And just play that through a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna send my tank there. I'm gonna send these guys up here. I'm gonna have him attack this guy because I want to lock this enemy in position here so he doesn't move in that direction. I want to push back this enemy because I'm going to take over this whole area to the north. I'm going to send these guys there because that looks like a hole. This tank, I need to get it closer. I need somebody to fill in there if I'm pushing that up. We'll move those units in because I'm trying to create a hole. Okay, it looks like there's nobody there. I don't like that. We'll move those around. Okay. Looks like my tank found another division. I'm just kind of spreading them out. Pushing them back. Get around behind the enemy there. Those guys have orders. And it looks like up to the north there's not really any resistance. Attacking across rivers is a huge disadvantage, and that's probably why I'm losing this battle. So I'm going to have this guy swing down and attack from the north. So you right click once and it tells the unit and told the unit to move here. I'm going to press and hold shift, right click again, then right click a 3rd time, and you can see that each time that path got longer. So I'm specifying exactly where I want them to go and work on liquidating this pocket, and that pocket is gone. So now these guys are not encountering resistance, so I'm gonna lock that down. I'm gonna try to make a little pocket here. Get rid of this single troop. I'm gonna get rid of him. Let's grab these other 6 and have them move up. I just have everybody too bunched up for their own good. Let's grab this tank. So I told him to go up here, press and hold shift and attack from that direction. Let fill this in so I don't lose any research time. Yes, so now I'm trying to get the capital surrounded so that that doesn't happen where troops pop out.
Pronto, signore. Pronto, signore.
Once I get the capital surrounded, that's
Avanzate.
the spawn point for new troops for
Avanzate.
this country. So I'm going to leave one troop in each tile around the tile capital. And then I'm going to create a front line to the north and just kind of trap everyone in.
Formazione. Formazione.
And let it run a little bit, let people get spread out. I'm still not micromanaging it very well. You can see that these units are getting bad supply. And that's because there's no connection between this area and this area, nor are there supply hubs up here. So once I get moving towards the Mediterranean coast, I'm going to get some more rail lines and supply hubs. I could also build, like this rail line stops here, I could build a railroad between this tile and this tile to tie everything together that you see there, and that would help me move supplies around. But you have to wait for that, and it'd probably be faster for me just to go for the coast and open up this entire area here, and cheaper, because then I'm not wasting the construction on something I'm not going to be using in 5 minutes. Alright, play this out a little more.
Pronto, signore.
And I want 2 there, the other one here.
Si, signore.
I want to push this corner back. So, go like that. This tank's not getting full usage because I haven't been managing it very well.
Avanzate.
Let's see. Has decent coverage.
Formazione. Si, signore.
Just gonna move these out in hopes of finding the enemy. I want to take this because it's a supply hub. Maybe the enemy will move off of it for me. We can see here, I haven't done a good job encircling the troops because he's gotten a lot of them out. So we'll just kind of start collapsing this down and see what happens, see where he's really at. Although it doesn't necessarily matter because his capital is cut off, so now all of his troops are getting bad supply.
Pronto, signore.
And I'm just going to move those around to make sure that I have control of railroads.
Pronto.
I need to start putting up a troop in each province around the capital
Formazione.
because I don't want
Si, signore.
another division to slip out of there. If a division slips out of there, it's not really a threat to my army, but it is a threat to my supply lines, because if it comes down and over, it could start taking these different provinces that have a railroad through them that supplies my troops. Here we see these guys moving down, maybe to reinforce along here.
Avanzate.
I want to make a pocket here, so I'm going to attack those troops to freeze them. Just going to keep on taking more free spaces if they're going to give
Si,
it to me.
signore. Formazione. Formazione. Pronto.
I am trying to expand my space while also
Si, signore.
needing to collapse this pocket. That's way more troops than are needed, so I'm going to move that stack up there. I've done a bad job managing those troops. They're stacked up. So we'll get them moving towards the front. We're gonna create a pocket down here of Spanish troops.
Formazione.
Okay.
Avanzate.
Have this guy start moving this way. Need to slow this down a little bit to get a little bit better management.
Formazione. Pronto, signore. Continuate l'attacco. Formazione.
And
Pronto.
that guy is making a good run of it.
Pronto,
Okay,
signore.
this tank, I'm gonna use it as a spearhead. I want this tank helping out. Got an extra troop there.
Sì, signore.
So this is part of the micromanagement where I'm going to take each one of these divisions and I'm going to move them down one until I get to this tile that has 2 divisions on it. And I'm going to take one of those and move it up.
Sì, signore.
So here, all these troops have bad supplies because I have way too many divisions on one tile. Spreading them out should help immensely. Okay, now that I have things opened up quite a bit, I need to reduce the complexity for me. I want to push this guy out because here we see this one tile has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around it, lengthening my front line. If I take this province, then I remove the need to protect these 3 on my own front line. So I'm gonna do that.
Sì, signore.
I need to get that tank moving.
Sì, signore.
This situation here is another one where if I attack from multiple directions, I'm shortening my own front line. So I'm going to take that opportunity. These guys are probably going to break through here without any resistance. Now all these Spanish troops have bad supply because they don't have a link to their capital to get supply. And I'm going to work on starting to liquidate them down. These guys are not being used, so they need to go up there.
Sì, signore.
Gonna send them over towards that side since that's where they will be needed.
Riparatevi.
Okay.
Pronto.
This.
Pronto.
Send that tank, 1 troop over, and leave 1 behind.
Formazione.
How are we doing here? Okay, we've got 6 here. So
Formazione.
we'll send 1 there, 1 there. And they all have bad supply, so I'm not really trying to push too hard. But it
Formazione.
would be a waste if I didn't do something with these troops and maybe encircle these 2 so that their situation's worse than it already is. I want to take
Sì, signore.
these 6. Looks like it's 6 provinces around the capital. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna assign them a new general. I don't want to accidentally move them by mistake. I just assign them to guard the capital, and I'm not going to give them any further orders. And all 6 of them were from this
Pronto,
guy.
signore.
I am
Pronto.
Going to grab 6 more divisions from my general
signore.
defense. Oops. That was one more than I needed. We'll send him back.
Pronto, signore.
Okay. Now this guy's down
Sì,
to
signore.
24. I still want that battle to end. However, it can be fought after I use this tool. So I'm going to start at the Mediterranean coast and draw a front line. Right click and hold. And now that I do that, I realize I only have 1 division selected. Let's get rid of those
Pronto.
and select the entire army. So let's draw this front line here. And I'm going to stretch it out towards Portugal. And then that's all the further I want his front line to be. I'm going to release. And you can see here what type of mess that's going to make, but it shouldn't be too terrible. Any orders they already have
Formazione.
won't be overwritten by this. It's only once their current attack ends
Continuate l'attacco.
that they'll start their new orders. And there they shift.
Sì,
Let's
signore.
send some more troops in here. Keep going,
Pronto,
guys.
signore.
Keep going. And it's easy to now find which divisions are under my other generals because they still have the exclamation mark saying they don't have orders.
Formazione. Formazione.
So with some of these guys trying to make moves, I'm
Sì,
going to
signore.
override them and throw them. Tell them to do something else first, and then once they've done that, their general gets control back. Just want to liquidate this pocket. Once the AI gets divisions that are out of supply, it will generally not move them. So I'm going to take advantage of that and not be too worried about
Sì,
this
signore.
stuff. This battle I kind of want to win, so I'm going to send in more troops.
Sì, signore.
I would like to push that back, and he seems
Sì,
pretty
signore.
weak, so we'll probably get it. They have a little pocket around my troops there that they're trying to kill him. If I'm lucky, I will win my battles first and not lose that division, but I might still
Vi respingiamo, signore.
end up losing that division.
Avanzate.
Just send more in to get there. So this front line is starting to look pretty secure. There's still a few open spots. We'll see where it goes. Alright, so my 1 division that was cut off, I just saved. Or, yeah, there.
Pronto.
There, I just saved it. Let's get this tank in the fight. And look at the supply map real quick to see how things are doing. Pretty red because these 2 supply hubs still can't be used. There's a cooldown period on the railroads. That's fine. It'll be cleaned up fast enough.
Sì, signore.
But when you see that a lot, when you move really fast and you outrun your supplies, that's a really good opportunity to stop, make a front line, and then make an offensive line and let that planning bonus build up again if you want.
Pronto. Pronto, signore.
For me, I am trying to get to the coast so that I can easily divide this into right there. I just attack so that that enemy couldn't move, but I want to easily divide this between my 2 armies. Okay, so now that that tank
Avanzate.
made it all the way to the coast, I'm going to select my northern general, grab the front line tool, shift click at the westernmost point of the front line, and then drag it all the way. So now that he distinctly has that,
Pronto,
just
signore.
reorganizing a little bit for my own convenience. And then this southern pocket, I'm going to assign to my second general. And that way, they automatically fill in
Sì,
all of
signore.
these spaces. I'm just going to have them do some quick movements to make the gap bigger.
Pronto,
And then the
signore.
general should move those units back to spots where he wants them. I'm going to work on cutting off the
Pronto,
Portuguese
signore.
capital
Pronto.
to affect their supply lines as much as possible. And now their capital's encircled. However, with that dock there, there's still a connection between those two spots. So I'm going to start moving down to cut that off. And then once that's cut off, I'm going to have a nice pocket
Formazione.
of Spanish and Portuguese troops that'll I can just slowly liquidate.
Formazione.
Hernias like this just have troops attack from all directions to pop that back in, and that'll shorten the front line significantly. And then you can also look around here. Like if I take this spot, it's a much shorter front line. So let's just take all those troops and send them in. And it looks like there's no enemy up here.
Formazione.
So I'm just gonna manually advance my troops to try to figure out where the enemy is, and it should shorten the front line.
Pronto, signore.
Alright, so my tank took that port and didn't find any enemies.
Sì, signore.
Let's shorten the front line some so that this pocket can get tightened up.
Avanzate. Continuate l'attacco. Pronto, signore.
And we'll just go ahead and liquidate this so that I can free up these divisions, especially with there's one port here, so they're still getting supply here, and that won't change. That's most likely where the capital will move. Let's see. Speed it up, yep, and move to that city at the north. So yes, now this pocket is cut off from supply.
Sì, signore.
I can just tell my general to liquidate it. And I can set his execution to cautious and just let him go on his own.
Pronto, signore.
And that's because now that it's a pocket, it doesn't really need micromanagement. And I have enough troops that I'm not urgently needing my divisions. We can take a look here at the supply map again. And now that the cooldown periods have passed, the supply is not looking too bad. One last thing to talk about before I go is fuel. For this current battle, fuel wasn't really a big deal because I only have 3 tank divisions. And on divisions that have tanks, you can see that there's a fuel icon. You can see how much they currently have, what their capacity is, how much they're consuming. If you have a lot of tank divisions, you also want to keep track of your fuel up in the top toolbar. And as you can see, mine's currently at 0, but with not really having much motorization, that wasn't a big deal for me here. Later in the game, when you have a lot of motorization, that can become a huge issue.